Kellogg's brand flakes. This is usually the stuff that nobody touches, but even then, in Vietnam, it's 200,000 VND, which is like 10 bucks Canadian, and that's pretty damn expensive. Canada was like a model country for, you know, a lot of the world back then. My generation and the future generations are being hit the most. And even now, a lot of people still have a very good impression or perception of Canada. But a lot of that is just based off of what Canada was. Countries that were once poor are now developing. And this Vietnam's Costco is an example of that. I'd say before the 80s, Korea was really poor, right? Korea is like one of the wealthiest countries in Asia nowadays. So, you know, good and bad, not everything lasts forever. Things change. Hello, xin chào. Yeah, okay. Okay. Insane. There's actually like Korean on like every other business here in Da Nang. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's like heavy smog in this area. If you could smell it, it's like straight like firewood, like burning firewood. Usually there's not much pollution in Da Nang. I've noticed for the past week I've been here, it's a lot better than Hanoi and Saigon. Oh yeah, very beautiful. Alright, we finally here. It was like a half an hour bike ride. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I was anxious as fuck when I was filming that stuff on the bike. My hands were like sweating because I was so scared of dropping the camera. And like I had to adjust it to get the different angles because the Osmo is just really annoying like that. So that's why I wish I got the other camera. I always talk about that in my videos, but yeah. But yeah, shout out to, I think his name is POV Digital Nomad. I saw him on TikTok and he came to this place. Apparently it's like the Costco of Vietnam. And it's in this like whole new, brand new mall that a lot of locals come to apparently. So let's check it out. Gotta find a washroom first. Really need to take a piss. I think the washroom's on this side. All right, we done with our business, so let's go, shall we? Jollibee. There's actually a lot of Jollibees here in Vietnam too. Had no idea. Phuc Long, you know, it's another big, like kind of like a Starbucks kind of thing, cafe, coffee. I don't think the mall here is actually that big. It doesn't like stretch out very, very far. It's just kind of like really compact. I think there's like 4 or 5 stories. But yeah, really shout out to that POV Digital Nomad dude. He's kind of like the whole reason I came to Da Nang. I wasn't really like thinking about coming here, but I don't know, for some reason it just kept on like popping up on my feed on TikTok, and it slowly sold me. And yeah, like I'm really liking it here, so thank you to that guy, you know. If it wasn't for his videos, I wouldn't have seen Da Nang. Yeah, so far I haven't seen a single like foreigner here, so maybe it is like really is a local spot. Oh, what's out here? Is the Costco out here? Or is it just like a kind of a storage area? Okay, no, I think it's just like a storage area, like beside the parking garage. Yeah, I thought it was the Costco, because usually that's how Costco looks like, just a bunch of like pallets. Okay, let's go back in. Yeah, apparently this thing, like this store is like Vietnam's version of Costco. Not actually Costco, like not a branch in Vietnam, but their own actual thing. I think that's pretty cool because I don't think in any other country they have something like Costco, like their own brand. Like a lot of countries will have an actual Costco branch, like Shenzhen in China nowadays, but not like their actual own domestic brand, you know? So we'll see how similar it is to an actual Costco. Oh, I didn't even notice. This is actually like, it's not an escalator, it's kind of like a ramp, like a moving ramp, like those moving walkways you'd find in the airports, but this is going up. I think this is it. Super Center. Also, the actual mall itself is called Super Center as well, I think. Okay, first impression is not as like big and intimidating like a Costco, but they kind of have the same type of thing going on here, like just like pallets of product here. Yeah, check out this area first. A bunch of like rice cookers, essential for every single Asian household. And if you're not Asian, but you still cook rice from time to time, I would still recommend getting a rice cooker. Like the quality of rice you get from rice cooker versus cooking in a pot is totally different. It's so much better and it's easier to clean up too. I think if you cook it in a pot, it sticks to the pot and it's like really a pain to clean. So get a goddamn rice cooker if you don't have one already, man. Bunch of blenders here. This kind of reminded me of something. Like this is not a blender, but it's a water flosser. It kind of reminded me of like magic bullets. And it's a kind of a segue to what I actually wanted to like talk about on the side for this video. And that is, not everything lasts forever. Like good things don't always last forever. Things are always changing. Everything in life, not just your own life, but like the countries, brands, and products also change too, and they come and go. And one of them, which wasn't what one of the original products I thought of that like come and go, but Magic Bullet. I don't really see it that much nowadays, but I remember I think like early 2010s, Magic Bullet was like absolutely massive, and you could find it like in every department store, supermarkets, but nowadays not so much, I think. So it's almost Tet, I think. Tet is like, if you want to be politically correct, Lunar New Year, but I call it Chinese New Year. It's Vietnam's version of Chinese New Year. So we got like a bunch of like Tet themed products here and decoration. Oh, there's a foreigner. We found a foreigner. Yeah, like not just Magic Bullet. If you're younger, you know, you're a younger viewer of mine, then you know Air Force Ones. I think nowadays Air Force Ones are like already past a decline, and they're not that popular anymore in general. And after Air Force Ones, it was like Sambas, I think, but Sambas are starting to like go on the decline now too. But even way before that, if you're like around my age, then in high school, the shoe that was all the craze was like Stan Smiths and Superstars. And nowadays, nobody wears that. So again, you know, shit comes and goes, you know, trends, and just like countries too, which I'll get into a bit later on. Yeah, I don't think it's really like a Costco. It's just like a more bare bones supermarket, you know? Because Costco is like, you buy stuff in the bulk, right? Here it's just like everything's like individually sold. But they do have a lot of different stuff, like A lot of foreign alcohol here. You got Jameson, Jack Daniels. Of course, they got soju here because there's so many goddamn Koreans here. I don't mean the goddamn in a bad way, by the way. It's just, I don't know, it just rolled off the tongue. Yeah, at Costco, you definitely wouldn't see a small package of meat being sold like this. And they got a little food court here. I don't see hot dogs. Costco's famous, iconic hot dog. But they do have some rotisserie chicken here. So they're halfway there. They even got pho. Without like any soup though. I wonder how it works. Like, you just buy like the bowl of noodles and then you make the soup yourself? Or do they give you like a separate package of soup? I just remembered another like store, restaurant type of thing, and that's Menchie's. Menchie's, if you remember, used to be huge, you know? It was everywhere. It's like if you don't know it, then it's like a frozen yogurt ice cream type of place where you can like customize your own like bowl and you put in like gummies, different syrup, anything you want. Nowadays, I can't remember the last time I've seen a Menchie's. So another example of, you know, trends and, you know, for the owner of Menchie's, good things don't last forever. You know what? I'm actually gonna double check on my phone right now to see if I'm at the right quote unquote Costco of Vietnam. So we are at the right place. So a bit disappointed because I don't see a lot of stuff in bulk. I mean, maybe this, but like a majority of the stuff is, you know, sold in smaller individual portions like this, you know. So I'm gonna do like one more round here and then we're gonna check out the rest of the mall. All right, so I just saw this box of cereal, Kellogg's brand flakes. This is usually the stuff that nobody touches, but even then, in Vietnam, it's 200,000 VND, which is like 10 bucks Canadian, and that's pretty damn expensive. But these cup noodles, the puldak ramyun is not bad. I think it's cheaper, and Shin ramen is cheaper than Canada. I think in Canada, you have to pay like $3-4 bucks for this, so this is like 3 times cheaper, I think. If you're like me and you really like to like take a look at supermarkets in different countries you go to, then I think this might be interesting to you. I mean, I found out that milk in Vietnam, a lot of it, they don't refrigerate. I think it's like non-pasteurized or pasteurized. So like they basically like heat up the milk like at a super high temperature that kills the bacteria. And so that's why they can like store it like this without refrigerating it. But it'll last for like at max, I think like 6 months versus, you know, in Canada, we refrigerate our milk. So the freezer area, like near the freezer area is where you'll find the milk with the fridges. But here it's in like, you know, a regular aisle. I did find some refrigerated milk here, but it is, I think, more expensive, obviously. Right here, there's like a little section of refrigerated milk, and that one was 45,000 VND. And then you come over here versus this is 33,000 VND. I feel like this is like very American, you know, frozen banh mi's. Not pizza pockets, banh mi's. I really wish we had these more in Canada, but you know, we follow America kind of. Everything's like really big. These are just like perfect when you're thirsty, but you don't want to like carry around a big bottle, so you can like finish it in one go. and be on your way. So we're gonna grab it and then head out. All right, yeah, a bit disappointing, but that's okay. We'll check out the rest of this brand new mall. But back to our little topic about, not lasting forever. Good things don't last forever. My parents actually watch my videos, so my dad and my mom might get a little mad for me talking about this, because they love Canada so much. But yeah, like I said, even countries don't, good countries don't last forever. And what I mean by that, prime example is Canada. If you're Canadian, or you've been following Canadian news and seen some videos, then you know that Canada is going downhill. It's definitely not the same country as it was when my parents first immigrated there, like in the late 80s, early 90s. Definitely way different. Back then it was really safe, pretty much like no crime at all. The cost of living wasn't insane. Property prices weren't insane. The whole political climate wasn't so hostile. It was really like a Switzerland of North America, Traveling this year, a part of the reason why I wanted to travel is kind of play with the idea of, one day maybe leaving Canada and moving to another country. Because, I've seen firsthand, and my generation and the future generations are being hit the most by the state in which Canada is now. Not so much, the older generations, because they're set, they're pretty much going to retire soon. They have their property, they have their home, no debt, they don't have to worry about the job market and how hard it is to find a job nowadays in Canada. So, obviously the older generation will be a lot more fond of Canada and see Canada in a better light. But for younger people like me in the coming generations, we see, firsthand, we're outside more, we're interacting with society way more, and we're seeing the way Canada is going towards, and it's definitely not good. Canada was like a model country for, a lot of the world back then. And even now, a lot of people still have a very good impression or perception of Canada. But a lot of that is just based off of what Canada was back in, before, I'd say like 2010s maybe, or 2000s. I think the 2010s is when Canada really started to go downhill. But before that, people's perception of Canada was before, the downhill stuff, more in the 90s, 80s, 70s, Here's another like Korean barbecue restaurant. Just tons and tons of Korean restaurants in Da Nang. I actually found out, watching some YouTube videos, that Da Nang is actually one of the main tourist places for vacation, or how do you say it? Places Koreans go to for vacation. And no wonder there's so many Korean restaurants and businesses here. It's kind of sad to see this food court. It's pretty dead for Friday. Yeah, there's like, I think one table, and that guy's like a security guard, I think. Or no, he's not. Yeah, just one table in this entire food court. But I'd say the rest of the restaurants in Da Nang are pretty poppin'. Like a lot of customers, a lot of people eating out. But seeing this Korean restaurant and talking about Korean stuff again reminds me, Korea is also another example. You know, before I'd say before the 80s, Korea was really poor, right? And, you know, not everything lasts forever. Things change. Korea is like one of the wealthiest countries in Asia nowadays. And it's like a model country for a lot of other Asian countries as well. So, you know, good and bad, not everything lasts forever. Things change. And Vietnam is also changing. It's, you know, maybe in the future it'll end up like Korea and China. Right now it's definitely developing at a really good pace from what I could tell. It's not always going to be known as that war-torn, poor country. One day it will maybe end up as one of the richest countries in Asia. So back on the first floor now. The mall only has 3 stories actually. I thought it was like 4 or 5. It looked like really tall from the outside. But it's actually a pretty small mall. Just like a local spot, I think. Loteria, Korean fast food chain again. Which, by the way, I tried when I was in Seoul, and I can't say I'm a fan of it. I'm sorry. And you know, I've obviously had a lot of conversations with my parents about the idea of leaving Canada and the state in which Canada is in right now. And it always doesn't end well. And I feel a part of that is like, for a lot of, you know, immigrant families, they worked really hard to leave whatever country they came from for a better life, you know, what they thought would be a better life. Well, for them, definitely it was, probably. For the future generations, you can't say for certain, I don't know. But I feel like that's why my parents in particular are so, you know, against or like very sensitive when I talk about maybe wanting to leave Canada in the future. It's kind of like they did all that hard work for nothing, which I can see. I know it must be a hard pill to swallow. No, to kind of admit that the country a lot of people put on a pedestal back then and worked very hard to get to is not the same anymore. It's kind of like admitting if you're like really popular in high school, you know, and admitting you peaked in high school and now you're nothing. But I want to know where you guys are from. Maybe you guys are from Vietnam or like not America or Canada, you know, like the main countries a lot of people immigrate to. How is it in your own country? What's the sentiment there? Do people still like view immigrating to Canada and America in a really positive light? And is it something that a lot of people strive towards nowadays? Or is it the opposite? Do people like to just stay in their own country? Because a lot of these countries that were once poor are now developing. And this Vietnam's Costco is an example of that. You know, you're taking the American ideas and bringing it to Vietnam. And so I feel like maybe people don't see, you know, their own country so pessimistically, and they actually have a lot of faith and like optimism towards the future, and they're more open to the idea of staying in their own country. But I don't know. Let me know. I'm gonna do a quick walk around, and maybe we'll call it a day. But I forgot to talk about this earlier in the video, but it's another like really important idea that ties into this main topic. Not only brands and countries, but also jobs. Jobs is like one of the biggest ones that people can see. relating to this theory of, not everything lasts forever. Jobs, like software engineering jobs, from what I've heard, it's kind of starting to decline, and it's not that easy to find a job in that field anymore. And they also don't pay as much as it did like during COVID and pre-COVID. And then another job that is pretty damn crazy if you think about it, but I don't think anybody ever like thought of this, was, blacksmiths. And how the fact that before cars and motorcycles, we traveled by carriage and horses, right? And those required blacksmiths to make horseshoes and all that stuff, like repairing carriages and stuff. But when the car came and motorcycles got invented, that industry basically got wiped out. And from movies, I can say maybe that blacksmiths were like kind of like a very honorable job, like a very high paying job that required a lot of skill. Maybe equivalent to like a software engineering job nowadays. It's definitely not somebody could just like pick up in a day or two. You have to train and like learn a lot about the craft to become good at it. And even that, a very prestigious, good paying job can disappear like that. So, moral of the story is do not buy Onitsuka Tiger sneakers because in a year, no one's going to be wearing them. And if you're somebody cares about what's in trend, then you're not going to be wearing it either, and you wasted like $200. So there you go. But I think that's it for this video. After this, I will probably be in Bangkok, Thailand. So if any of y'all are there and want to meet up, I'm open to it. Let me know. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.